Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to NFLExperts Live. We're going to get started with a quick news update.
Alright, our first news update, we got Chad Ochocinco signed with the Miami Dolphins. Lou, how is this going to affect the Dolphins team?
I think it's going to affect it greatly. I think it's going to be in a positive way, though, because they're going to bring some veteran experience into the receiving corps. I think with Devon Best and Hawker, I forgot the other guy's name, Hartline, there's a lot of youth at that position. So I think Ocho, when he comes in, he'll bring some great promise there at the position, and I think it'll spice up the hard knocks. Dave, what do you think on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think Ochocinco's a huge addition to their team. They don't really have, with the loss of Brandon Marshall, they had nothing really good, no real talent at the receiver spot. So now with signing Ochocinco, it's a great addition for him.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's get to the next one.
Alright, also, Jacksonville Jaguars running back Maurice Jones-Drew is holding out of minicamps. He signed a 5-year deal in 2009. He's still got 2 years left on that contract, but he's not happy with the amount of money he's being paid. So he's officially holding out. Louis, do you think they'll get the deal done before the season?
I think they will. I think the Jaguars pretty much have to. We've had some big debates about the Jacksonville Jaguars in the past couple days on YouTube, and I think that they pretty much have to, or else their season's really over already, even though it's not going to be that great as it is. But I think you have to get your star signed, and I think they will.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's going to affect MJD's playing.
Oh, yeah, look what happened at Chris Johnson last year. I mean, he lost a lot of time, and, it really affected him greatly during the season.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get with the topics we have today. We're doing best defensive lines and linemen in the NFL. So let's get started with the best D-line. Dave, who in your opinion, has the best defensive line in the NFL today?
Well, it's a good one. I'm going to have to say the New York Giants. They've got a great front four. They've got amazing defensive ends with Jason Pierre-Paul, Justin Tuck, and even their third one with Osi Umenyiora. They have amazing defensive ends, and they've also got some solid defensive tackles with Linville Joseph and Chris Canny.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a different team. It's going to be similar to the Giants. It's going to be in the NFC East, and I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. They have Trent Cole, who's a veteran defensive end, who I think is very underrated. He had 11 sacks last year. He's pretty much had double-digit sacks every year since in his career. They also have in the other end Jason Babin, who they just got last year. He had 18 sacks. This team was tied for the lead in sacks with the Minnesota Vikings, who we also haven't brought up yet. But, I just think they're just dominant with their defensive line. Plus, you got to look in the middle. They have Colin Jenkins, a veteran defensive tackle, who can even play on the end at times. And then you got in the first round Fletcher Cox, who I think is going to be a great contribution.
Yeah, like you did say, the Vikings, you mentioned them. They're also a great defensive line with, of course, Jared Allen, and they also have Kevin Williams at defensive tackle.
Yeah, they're another one. There's so many good defensive lines in the league, but I just think they just don't have the depth that teams like the Giants and Eagles do, like we said. But the Vikings they're a great defensive line. Okay, so next we have who would you rather have? It's a defensive end comparison. Who would you rather have on your team? Jared Allen or Julius Peppers? This is a close one, but I bet it's kind of obvious.
Well, yeah, they're two great defensive ends, but I'm going to go with Jared Allen, defensive end of the Minnesota Vikings. He's just a great defensive end. He has over 20 sacks, which is amazing, outstanding. I believe he set the single-season sack record this year, and he's just a beast.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I have Jared Allen as well, but I think Julius Peppers he's just very good. I think, in my opinion, he's the second best defensive end in the league. But Jared Allen, you can't go wrong with those 20-plus sacks pretty much every year. He's just so dominant, and I would take him on my team.
All right, now who do you think the best defensive end in the league is? Name your top three.
My top three would be number 1, Jared Allen. Second, Julius Peppers. And number 3 is going to be a really, really close one. But I'm going to go DeMarcus Ware. I think he's very underrated. I mean, he's been just amazing for the Dallas Cowboys. He really holds that defense together, and he's got great pass rush ability.
Yeah, I can agree with pretty much all of that. Actually, I agree with it all. You got Jared Allen, he's amazing, like we said. Julius Peppers and Waren's great too. Another one I like is Jason Pierre-Paul of the Giants. I think he's going to be a great defensive end, probably the best in the league in a couple of years when he gets going. Also, I like Buffalo Bills' newest addition, Mario Williams. I think he's a great defensive end as well.
Yeah, I agree. Those are all good points. Okay, so let's get to the next topic.
All right. Who do you think is the most underrated defensive lineman?
The most underrated defensive lineman it's a very good one, but, I'm going to have to stick on the Philadelphia Eagles side and go Trent Cole. I'm just really big on this guy. I mean, he's had, like I said, double-digit sacks every year that he's been in the league, pretty much, maybe except for his rookie year. And he's really underrated. He's in that team with a lot of great pass rushers, and in that whole division, there's just a lot of pass rushing ability when you look at the Giants and the Cowboys. But I think he's a very underrated pass rusher, and that's going to be my underrated. Who's going to be yours?
It's a close one. I think that Kevin Williams, defensive tackle of the Vikings, is definitely underrated. He doesn't get enough attention as he should. He's a great defensive tackle. People are having trouble stopping him. That's part of the reason why Jared Allen's so great.
Yeah, he's another great underrated defensive lineman. So now, what's the next topic?
The next is who is the most overrated defensive lineman?
The most overrated defensive lineman is a very good one, and I'm going to go with here Mario Williams, defensive end of the Buffalo Bills. If you look, he had some injury problems. He was out all last season. Pretty much, he only played a couple weeks. But if you look at him, he really hasn't had over double-digit sacks in the past couple years. It's just my opinion. I think he is going to have a better. He's going to have a better season this year. I don't think he's overrated in his skill-wise. I think the way he's being paid is overrated, not the way his skill is. I think he just has the skill of a top defensive player. I just don't think for the money he's getting.
So you're saying that the top paid defensive player in the league is amazing?
Okay, well, I'm thinking he's getting Reggie White money, and he hasn't had double-digit sacks in the past couple years. I'm just saying I don't think he deserves that money already. I think it's going to tip, but I think, yeah, he'll live up to it maybe, but I just don't think it's that much.
And he hasn't played a full season in the past couple of years.
Well, that's not a good thing. You don't want to invest money on a guy that then can't play a full season.
But it does affect his number of sacks.
It does, but like I said, you don't want to invest money in a player who can't play a full season if you're paying him that kind of money. But we'll save that for debate shows later on in our show.
Alright, so what's our next topic?
Okay, our next topic is the best defensive lineman in the draft. Who do you think is going to be the best one to impact their team and become a top defensive lineman in the league?
Well, it's a tight one. I wouldn't say this guy's the best. I think he's going to have a great season, though. I'm a big fan of Chandler Jones. I believe his name is from Syracuse. Defensive end.
Yep.
Drafted by the Patriots in the 20s. He's a great defensive end. I think he's a really good addition to the Patriots defense.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there. I think he was overshadowed, I think, by guys like Melvin Ingram and Quentin Coples. But if you look at those two players, I kind of question Coples' work ethic a lot. I don't think he really shows great effort, but I think he is going to be pretty good this year. But I'm going to go with Chandler Jones as well. I think he's got a veteran there with Will Fork to really help him out and mentor him pretty much this year. And I think when you look at Melvin Ingram on the Chargers, there's not a lot of pass rushing and ability to help him out there. And Quentin Coble is really the same thing. But I agree with you. That's a good point on Chandler Jones. Okay, so next topic, we're going to get off the defensive line thing here. Who's the best? We're going to kind of stick with it, but who's the best outside linebacker?
Well, it depends because a lot of defensive ends also play outside linebacker. So if you're just going to stick with normal outside linebackers who are always there, it's a close one. But wait, are we going to go with people who play both, or?
Yeah, we can go with both, but it's like mainly their position kind of guys like Clay Matthews who rush the passer, but you know.
True. Yeah, but I might actually say Clay Matthews. He's a great linebacker. He gets interception, he gets sacks. Also, I like Tamba Hali of the Chiefs. He plays outside linebacker too, and he does the same thing as he's more of a pass rusher though than Clay Matthews, but they're both amazing linebackers.
Yeah, I agree. So now we're gonna have another topic. Dwight Freeney is being moved to outside. He's being moved to the linebacker position, and they're actually saying that sometimes he might drop back in coverage. Dave, is this a good thing for the Colts defense, or do you think this is going to hurt them pass rushing wise?
Well, it depends. I mean, they do have Mathis on the other end, so moving them back to linebacker would help their linebackers. But if you're going to have a big defensive end who's played defensive end his whole career drop back in coverage, I wouldn't say that's a smart decision. Not really. He probably doesn't know how to cover. So unless he gets a lot of work done during this offseason, I wouldn't say this is too good of a decision.
Okay, yeah, great point. So, Dave, do we have any more topics?
I do not think so.
Okay, so that's going to do it for us today on NFL Experts Live. Make sure to check out our YouTube page.
All right.